This is the fourth of 6 ethics training modules for Texas educators. Module 4 will focus on teachers as role models, conduct outside of the classroom. The focus of this module will be to understand the influence teachers can have on students when modeling behavior, values, and skills outside of the classroom. As we prepare to begin our training session, these are the overarching essential questions that we will conceptualize today. Our learning objectives for this model include analyze how educator actions reflect directly on the status of the education profession and the community at large, identify characteristics and responsibilities of being a role model for students outside of school, generate a list of red flag areas of vulnerability educators should be aware of regarding the behavior outside of school, and review consequences of actions from negative out of school educator conduct. As educators, we are important role models for students. They model themselves after us by imitating our actions and attitudes. This quote emphasizes this view. There's a great difference, a great assurance that the majority of educators bring an abundance of dedication, dignity, and expertise to the profession. Knowing that the dialogue during today's session will focus on the influence that educator role models have on students, it's equally important to understand the perspective of our students and how they view the impact of educators on their lives. Marilyn Price Mitchell conducted a research study of students that described how the attributes of their role models influenced and inspired them to strive to be their very best selves in school and in the community. From this study, the top 5 qualities of role models described by students were identified: passion and ability to inspire, clearly set of values, commitment to community, selflessness and acceptance of others, and ability to overcome obstacles. What is interesting is that in the top poll of 50 adult Facebook readers of this study, the same qualities were mentioned as adults reflected on their own role models. The biggest difference was that adults did not rank commitment to community as high as the students. However, the students stated that their number one attribute of a role model was the ability to inspire others. This is an interesting finding. Based on the results of this study, the impact of a positive role model has a tremendous impact on how students evolve as learners and engaged students. What we do as educators matters both inside and outside of the classroom. How many of you remember these 2 famous educator role models? Jamie Escalante was a high school teacher who successfully inspired his dropout prone students to learn calculus. His story was portrayed in the movie Stand and Deliver. Rita Pearson spent 40 years of her life as an educator and anti-poverty advocate. She was well known for her mantra, "Every child deserves a champion." Both Escalante and Pearson have significantly impacted the lives of students. Unfortunately, we must also remember that students can be impacted negatively by their role models as much as they are impacted positively by their role models. Now is the time for headline news of the day. I'm going to review a few news headlines. As each headline is displayed, you will need to determine which headlines are true and which might be false. Make a note of which scenarios you think are true and which scenarios you believe are false. Is this headline true or false? 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 The good news is that there are many positive news stories about educator role models that do make headlines. Here are some awe inspiring headlines that capture the essence and heart of great educators. These are real life examples of where the media spotlight should continue to be for the educator profession, both inside and outside the classroom.